Let's take a look at a typical LBBB pattern, left bundle branch block. Slow down for 1 second. Now, before we go and dive into the EKG, which at this point I would not recommend, I would first pay attention to what kind of changes you would expect to see or hear from the history of the patient. For example, if you're to do a cardiac auscultation with the left bundle branch block, this would mean that you have a delayed conduction through the left bundle branch. So therefore, the first depolarization will pass through the right bundle branch. If that happens, then the pulmonic valve will close first prior to the aortic, thus you have a paradoxical split. That would be the most important aspect of left bundle branch block. Now, when it comes to EKG and you've been given a 12-lead ECG, well, you're looking at your V2, V3, V4, in which your QRS complex at this point, in fact, has been widened, but it's much more important that you pay attention to the EKG upcoming with RBBB. Now, with right bundle branch block, here, you're going to have a delayed conduction passing through your right bundle branch. So you have a depolarization passing to the left bundle branch first, as you would have normally. However, now, because it takes the pulmonic valve to close a little bit later, you're not going to have a fixed split. You'll have a widened split. A fixed split would mean upon inspiration, expiration, that the length and the span of your S2 between A2 and P2 would not be changing. And that would be something like your atrial septal defect as being the most common type of differential. However, if you find a right bundle branch block, well, you would have it widening, but the size or the span between A2 P2 would change between inspiration and expiration, but it would be widened in nature. Now, what you're paying attention to on EKG, now based on feedback, a 12-lead ECG, and what has been circled here, you'll notice rabbit ears is what they're called. Okay? You have an R on R pattern. This I need you to be able to identify on your EKG on a 12-lead. And with that type of history, with the widened split, no doubt your diagnosis, RBBB. This is the EKG at this point that you pay attention to. When you get a moment, go back to that electrocardiogram that I showed you with LBBB. But as I said, with LBBB, you pay attention to the paradoxical split. Is that clear? Let us now move on. Now, we move into what's known as ventricular tachyarrhythmia. Your focus should be the fact that the ventricles are involved. The ventricles, which means that you're going to find issues with which wave. Good. QRS complex. I want you to take a look at the bottom lead. Also, what I'm doing here with this entire section for arrhythmia is I am trying to get you into the habit of looking at all 12 leads. Gone are the days where they're just going to give you a simple rhythm or a simple lead, and it just being one lead in which you need to interpret that. Gone are those days, okay? So even with flutter, fibrillation, any one of those, there's a difference between, let's say, a licensing exam giving you one lead versus giving you all 12, right? Because now all of a sudden, you didn't even know it, but you have ADHD kicking in. Dr. Raj, I didn't even know I had it, but they gave me 12 leads. I don't even know what to look at because it's too much. No, see, that's why you get conditioned, okay? You get conditioned. You take a look at 12 leads, here you go, don't panic, and you focus on things that you definitely know. So we'll take this opportunity real quick to pay attention to lead 1, 2, and 3, okay? What does that mean to you? Lead 1, left side. Lead 2, you're looking at 60 degrees approximately. And the ones that you want to pay attention to group together based on myocardial infarction, we've done this before. 2, 3, AVF, inferior portion. Welcome to right coronary artery. Lead 1, AVL, right? V5, V6. There'll be left circumflex. There'll be lateral side. If it's a medial side, and then you're looking at the septal portion, looking at V1, V2, V3, V4, that'd be interventricular, down, and then towards the apical, and that would be something like your left anterior descending. Do you see the pattern? So each one of these 12 leads that you're going through, establish a pattern for yourself, and I'd like for you to move in a serpentine nature, meaning lead 1, lead 2, lead 3, go up to AVR, AVL, AVF, go to V1, V2, V3, and I want you to move in a snake-like manner with every single 12-lead ECG that you get. And then at the bottom, that's a separate strip. It's a separate lead that you pay attention to because that will be the one that shows you the pathology. Is that clear? This is how you need to read ECGs for any licensing exam. And by the way, You have cardiologists and experts that'll call it ECG and EKG. It's the same thing. Okay. In German, it's EK, cardio, whereas in English, it's EC. Ultimately, do not get confused on that. It's the same darn test. Let's move on.